Studios in Brea, California, here is the Doyledin podcast.
What's up? Welcome back to the Doyledin podcast, where we're going to have a recap of the most recent SmackDown and the most recent Raw, which is July 4th and July 7th. And then we're going to get into some predictions of Saturday night's main event, which is July 12th, and the Evolution pay-per-view, or PLE, whatever, the all-women's PLE that's coming out July 13th, right? Yeah, 12th, 13th, correct. And yeah, anyways, let's start with SmackDown. Take it away.
Yeah, so SmackDown, some things I love, some things I just could not bear to watch. Coming from Pittsburgh, and the best thing about this show, well, not the best thing, but one of the great things about this show is it's sponsored by Superman, which comes out this Friday. Greatest superhero ever. But yeah, it started out the way a show should start out. You know, the one thing that bothers me with Raw is when we show the arena and then it's 4 or 5 different superstars walking in with their bags, and it's the same thing every week. It's so annoying. It's like, come on, you know, we're not. Stop pretending we're a real sport, okay?
Yeah.
As far as yes, they're real athletes, of course, and I have so much respect for this business and everybody involved in it, but it's sports and entertainment. Let's get the show started the way a wrestling show should start. And this SmackDown started perfectly, where Solo's in his SUV and his windows down, and he's telling his guys all the Tongas that he's got. He's got a car full of Tongas, and what they're going to do tonight. And all of a sudden, here comes Jacob Fatu to beat the shit out of him and pull him out of the SUV window. And the other guys come out and they try and jump him and all that. And it was just a bit of a skirmish, and it gets you excited for the show, right? Starts the thread, which is what we used to do when I was there. Start the thread for the show. Okay, that keeps people captivated and it keeps the show motivated, right? So it was a great start to the show. Then we had Cody come out and he brought his crown out, and then Orton comes right out and he says he has respect for Cody and all. He took the route that he needed to take to win the King of the Ring, and Orton didn't. So he just wants him to kick Cena's ass. Then McIntyre comes out, and he mocks the two of them for being these little betas who just keep telling each other how great they are, and you know, something that we discussed last week, which is just like these two guys not being vicious wrestlers like they should be, right? So McIntyre mocks that. Again, they're watching our show. They're taking pointers from us. They're looking at stuff, and they're really getting into it now. It's good. So he mocks the friendship and the passiveness and all that, and he runs down Orton as he gets in the ring, and then Orton gives him an RKO, and Orton leaves, and McIntyre rolls out, and Cody kind of looks at Orton like, maybe I can't trust this guy. I don't know. You know, but so there's seeds planted there. It looks like they might want to turn Orton heel, but I still think it's going to be Cody. Still going to be Cody, in my opinion, no matter what. Then Charlotte's backstage with Nick Aldis, and he says that she's got a tag partner she doesn't understand. And here comes Alexa Bliss. She doesn't want to tag with Bliss, and they're kind of this, you know, reluctancy between both of them to tag together, and they're going to tag later on in a triple threat tag match to go for whoever wins goes to Evolution for the tag titles. And out comes Chelsea Green with Alba Fire and Niven, and they are going to be in that match, a triple threat match. But first, we go back to Fatu and Jimmy against the Tongas. That's going to be later. Ooh. And then Drew and Orton for Saturday night's main event. Then we go back to the next team out for this triple threat, which is Meechin and B-Fab, followed by Charlotte and Bliss.
Don't know who any of those people are. Me-Fab?
Meechin and B-Fab. Meechin is so good. One of the most underrated females in the business, in my opinion. And I think given the right opportunity here, they could build her here with this tag team, but she should be a top star at singles. And I think once some of the storylines have evolved, uh, Meechin should be pushed to the moon because she's got a great look. She's a hell of a worker, and she's great in the mic too. So, um, but her tag partner there, BFAB, she just gets in the ring and she does all these spinny kicks, and there's no psychology to anything that she does. Not a big fan. Um, but and then Charlotte using the spear. Uh, you know, Tessa got all popped. Oh, she's got a spear. It's like, okay, how many spears do we need on the show? We got Goldberg, right? We got Braun Breaker. It's overusage of a move here that is just, come on, kind of like the super kick.
Yeah.
So anyway, Flair and Bliss win. And then there's a little bit of animosity between the two of them after the win because Flair inadvertently tagged in Bliss, who got the pin, and Flair didn't get the pin. So you can tell that they're going to probably get the
Drama.
titles. Drama.
Yeah.
And they're probably the titles and then be this, awkward tag team for a while until eventually somebody turns on somebody. But it was a good match. It was good overall, good storyline involved here, just from the beginning of the backstage segment all the way through the match. I thought they did a great job selling the storyline and building the Bliss and Charlotte Flair team. I'm reading notes here because I forget easily. So yeah, so then we go back to the backstage and there's all these tag teams, and I know you love tag teams,
Love
and
it.
I'm a fan of tag teams too, but
Yeah.
this is awful, and I forwarded through it because it's absolute trash, in my opinion. These tag teams don't look like tag teams. They don't present anything to me that makes me go, "Oh, I gotta watch this." And especially when they're doing something with the Wyatt Six, which just to me is just like, ugh. Putting the Wyatt Six as a group and putting them in tag team matches, keeping them away from singles because you already have a faction with the Tongas, it's kind of a little congested in my opinion. And when you put them into tag teams, it kind of dilutes the tag team division because you have this group of 5 or 6 people against teams of 2, and it just doesn't as a face team, as a face group, it just for me it doesn't work, and it just does nothing for me. So I skip through all this because
The
I
Wyatt
couldn't
Six is
care.
a face group or no?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
Really?
sure.
Okay. I mean, I thought they would be heels, but whatever.
Yeah, no, they're over. They're over. But I think it's getting to the point where like, okay, what are we doing with them? What's going to happen here? Because they went away for a while, and then they came back, and there's still really no direction, only for the tag team division. But they're a group of 6 or whatever it is. So
Yeah. And you can't really put them
they got
against Rollins's group because like it's Rollins's group. You know? Like
well, then you got the Pongas and all that stuff, and again, it's to me, they got a little too much going on with factions and groups. Then they had a promo video package for Julia, the new U.S. Women's Champ. Love that. And she's calling herself Beautiful Madness, so it's good. And now comes Tiffy time, right?
I love it.
And she's coming out. They aired a little 4th of July package, which was narrated by Michael Cole. This would have made more sense at the beginning of the show because he's like, and tonight we celebrate. Was like, okay, we're already halfway through the night. Stuff like that is better at the top of the show, which is what they used to do. But nitpicking here. But Stratton came out and she announced that she'll be going against Cargill at SummerSlam, and she's about to announce her Evolution opponent when Cargill comes out. Didn't get the pop that she probably, or they thought she was probably going to get after Queen of the Ring. Well, she wasn't that over with the crowd. There wasn't some boos. So it's pretty interesting.
You said some booze for Jade, correct?
Correct.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So, so yeah, she got the crown in her hand. She got the flowing garment hanging off her gear. And she put Stratton over, and Stratton then introduces her opponent for. Well, she didn't exactly say yet her opponent for Evolution, but she did say I want to bring out Trish Stratus. And Trish Stratus comes out, and she says that she brought Trish there tonight to challenge her for a match and the championship on Sunday at Evolution. And Trish takes the mic, and Jade is rolling her eyes and kind of looking bored and like she doesn't want to be there. Some heel tendencies right here.
There we go. You're already getting the booze. Might as well just,
got to roll with it.
Roll with it.
Got to roll with it. And then, she popped off on a mic and still got some booze, and reaction from the crowd was mixed. But it ended really weird too, because Stratton was to give her line and it just didn't come out very forceful or very, like this is the end of the promo. Like, when somebody ends a promo and it was just like, time. And it was very matter of factly. And it wasn't, I'm going to whoop your ass or I'm going to be, dominant at Evolution and SummerSlam. And it was just kind of a weird ending to the segment. But then we had a Solo video package on the U.S. title and him and the Tonga fam.
Tonga fam? TF.
The TF. What? WTF? And then we see Trish running into Jade Cargill backstage, and they have a little powwow for a couple of seconds, and Trish walks off, and then Naomi attacks Cargill. And Naomi is so good. I mean, her facials and her how she delivers the lines are so good. But she laughed at Cargill, and that was that. And
interesting.
So then we had Fraxian and Andrade and Rey Fenix. Another thing that I just couldn't care less about. Skipped it. Andrade has never done anything for me.
Yeah, I get Andrade confused with someone else, but I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know why.
The former
Mr.
Charlotte Flair.
It's the names for some reason. I get Andrade and Carmelo Hayes mixed up. I have no idea why, but it's just
and Andre the Giant. Very similar.
Yeah. But I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know. I can't describe it. I'm just dumb. I just think I get those two mixed up.
Well, when you're not watching those shows, I mean, it's understandable. Anyway, so then Priest and Black backstage, Damian Priest and Aleister Black. And
where's Damian Priest been this whole time?
Well, he's kind of been on and off the show, but he's been around, and
okay.
He had a match. He came out last week when Truth was out there and did some stuff with Aleister Black, but they're kind of interacting together. And it may seem like they're going towards a match between these two, but I think these two would be a killer tag team. Two big dudes who look intimidating. And I think putting, Priest and Black together, same kind of personas a little bit.
I could see
would
that.
Be a hell of a tag team. They'd be dominant.
Yeah.
Especially in this crappy tag team tag team division they have on SmackDown. And, hate to say it, but it's not a very good tag team division. The teams are not what you would want. You look at the past tag team divisions and it's just like, ugh, compared to now?
Yeah.
No way.
Because when I think of tag teams, I think of two dudes you don't want to mess with. Two dudes,
right.
Like you see him coming, you want to get out of there. No matter heel or face, doesn't matter. And I feel like there's no tag team that gets that feeling on the roster, from at least from what I've seen. But
yeah, I agree. And then we got the Jacob and Jimmy against Solo and JC Mateo.
How was this match? Was it a good match?
It was a good match. It was a good match. Jacob Fatu got his revenge and got the win over Solo. So it doesn't hurt him being in a tag match. But then all the Tongas come out and then destroy Jacob Fatu through a table. The announcer's table, not a Slim Jim table.
Bummer.
And again, Tessitore was just his selling of this was like, oh no, they're gonna put him through it. Oh my God, this it just was so contrived. And they listened to us about McAfee. Hopefully they listened to us about Tessitore as well. He's just not the guy for you know, for his spot, in my opinion. Good sports
Yeah.
announcer. I think he's great on ESPN. Just not here for sure. Selling hot storylines. But
Yeah.
that was SmackDown. I mean, it was some good parts, like I said, and they got
Yes.
over some good storylines. But the tag stuff, God, awful
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because
in my
listening
opinion.
listening to you talk about it makes me want to figure out how to watch SmackDown, but because I think I could do it with like a VPN and certain things or whatever, but I just don't want to really mess with any of that. But um, it sucks that I miss so much just off of not watching SmackDown. Um,
I'm gonna turn this. I had the screen on in the back playing some Bret Hart video.
yeah.
I'm gonna turn it off. Looks like the lights kind of.
Yeah. Go ahead. There it is.
There you go. I think that's probably better.
All right. Fantastic. Um, we'll miss you, Bret Hart. Anyways. But yeah, like it just makes you want to watch SmackDown from hearing what you're saying and how you explain it. Uh, Especially because I kind of am enjoying Solo as a performer, and I want
Yeah,
to see more of him, and I
yeah,
can't because he's on SmackDown. Same thing with Cody Rhodes. Same thing with most of the big guys, which is kind of
right,
funny to think about because when I remember Raw and SmackDown growing up, it was always Raw that had the big guys on it, um,
right.
and SmackDown
Yeah,
kind of
Raw was.
had the up and coming people or whatever. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Raw was definitely the A show, back in the day. And then SmackDown when they started doing the trades and all that, the draft every year, and SmackDown ended up getting some of the better. I don't say better, but better storylines.
okay,
And SmackDown actually was start doing a lot better than Raw, and they played it well, switching certain guys over to the brand because it really brought SmackDown up to an equal level, in my opinion. And both these shows are pretty damn good. I'm just not a fan of what they're doing with the tag teams right now. Other than that, I think that everything is looking pretty good on SmackDown, and Aldis is a good GM or general manager, whatever you want to call him, president,
okay.
prime minister, king. But yeah, so that was that from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania,
Interesting,
and then we
interesting.
forward to Monday.
Monday Night Raw, July 7th. Uh, Again, continuing my streak of watching Raw on a weekly basis. I actually watched this live, and fell asleep in the middle of it, so I had to go back and watch it. Um, but I will say, out of the past three Raws that I've watched live, this is probably the second best. Um,
Hmm,
the one before, I have to look at my calendar, but um, because I saw this one June 30th, and then what would it be? It would be June 23rd. June 23rd. Uh, that Raw was the weakest one I've seen out of these three. Um, and what that was the Raw before Night of Champions, if I remember correctly.
correct. Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's something to do with a Raw being in front of a main event that they're gonna do, or a pay-per-view event such as Saturday night's main event and Evolution, to where they kind of don't want to put too much in because they don't want to undersell their main event. But I don't know. This Raw just did not feel like how last Raw did. It felt like how June 23rd's Raw felt, of just kind of like, we're not really doing much here, you know? Um,
Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call Saturday Night's Main Event a PLE, but kind of a go home show for Saturday Night's Main Event. So they're kind of still pushing a certain storylines, not everything, just enough to get you to watch on Saturday.
yeah, yeah,
And what you're saying, it typically a go home show for a pay per view. I still call it pay per view. Are the best shows because and the one after right after can be as well the fallout of the pay per view. Um, but yeah, this one they had a good thread I thought, but yeah, we can get into it. It was from Providence, Rhode Island, right? It's where That's where it was, and that's where the 1994 Royal Rumble was, my favorite Royal Rumble of all time,
Yes.
which Bret Hart co-won with Lex
Yes.
Luger.
Yes,
So,
that's correct. And before we get into it, doing research of looking up what, the things about Raw, apparently, apparently, Rollins and Becky Lynch's house got robbed for like $100,000. Like someone just took $100,000 from their house. Um,
wow.
yeah, and I'm like, damn. I wonder, like, cause you hear like certain like stories of people robbing famous people's house. Like, do you think they know that they're robbing from their house? Because it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like,
They're scouting these places out, man.
what? Okay, yeah,
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've a lot of famous people, and especially athletes, and I mean, during the NFL season, you'll hear about a couple of players' houses getting robbed, even baseball players,
because they know they're not
you know,
home.
that not home, you know.
Yeah,
Uh, they're watching them. They got these gangs that come up from, wherever they're coming from, whether it's different countries or different states. It's something that's been going on for a while, and that hey, you know, it is what it is. If you don't have the proper security and you have all that money, I mean, come on,
yeah, yeah.
you should be doing better.
But
But
yeah,
not that excuse, but
yeah, I'm gonna try to keep up with that story because I'm interested because they haven't found who stole from their house. But I don't know,
well,
just a little
I'm
silly
guessing
story, I guess. To
I'm guessing they didn't take anything from Seth's closet. So no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah, that is the worst style I've ever seen. But I guess
I will say it looked better this week.
to each their own. Yeah, I will say when he first came out at the beginning of Raw, which is where we're gonna talk about Raw, start talking about Raw. I will agree with you. His outfit was much better than what we have seen. Um, and and yeah, I actually thought that the opening of Raw, it was the best I've ever seen Seth Rollins and his group. I think Heyman dropped he name dropped what the group could be called,
Yeah.
the Empire.
Yep. Empire. Yep.
I don't know if they're gonna keep rolling with that, but I wouldn't
Oh,
be
makes
opposed
sense.
to it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but but yeah, so we have Rollins, um, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman coming out all together. People are I think the crowd was very electric this Raw. They were very into the episode, especially when Rollins came out. Um, and and yeah, so Heyman is about to give the mic to Rollins, and Breaker just comes in and interrupts the handoff and takes the mic from Paul, and Rollins like looks at Paul, hey, what the fuck's going on, and I think Braun Breaker gave probably the best promo of the night, um, in my opinion, and the crowd seemed to really like it too, um, and and yeah, I mean, what did you think of his promo?
I loved it. I
Yeah,
mean, Braun Breaker's got everything. He is the steal Lex Luger's moniker. He's the total package, in my opinion. Um,
yeah,
he has it all. He's got the look. He's got the skills in the ring, and he's got the mic skills. He just knows. I mean, look at the stock he comes from. His dad and his uncle, the Steiner brothers. I mean, unbelievable. I'm just waiting for him to drop that Braun Breaker name and go with the Steiner name, which would be just fucking electric. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I thought he did. Thought he did awesome here. And when he challenges Sammy to a match later in the night, um, bless you. Um, the look on Heyman and Seth, and I love the whole interaction and how they are in the background while he's doing his promos.
yes,
Really well done. So this for me was a really a step up for this faction, the Empire. Were
agreed.
they called that or not? We are now going to call them the
Yeah,
Empire. So
it works. It works. And then Braun Breaker ends his promo, and he basically does he hands it to he hands it to Rollins, and Rollins, is like, hey, Breaker, you good? Like, you're kind of going off kilter here, and then kind of gives the look of over to Bronson Reed, and is like, all right, you want some too? Here you go, take the mic. And I thought this was awful. The Bronson Reed's promo was pretty bad. I don't know if it was the accent or what, but compared to Braun Breakers, and I think everybody in that ring had to keep mentioning, oh yeah, we're not gonna do a good follow up to Braun Breaker here. We're not gonna cut a good enough promo as him, but yeah, I just feel like it was just kind of just felt like, I don't know, a kid on a playground at that point,
Yeah.
with Bronson Reed.
Yeah, I liked that he kept bringing up what he did to Seth.
Yes, I will say I was like,
That
okay,
got me excited because that makes me think, well, maybe they're gonna kick him out of the group because he thinks he's better than Seth at this point.
yeah,
And I would love to see that because, again, I've said this a couple of weeks ago. I don't see him as a great fit for this group. He's decent on the mic, but he's definitely not on the same level as a Seth Rollins or a Braun Breaker or a Paul Heyman.
yeah,
I hate to kind of say this, but he's kind of like the X-Pac of the group, X-Pac from DX,
yeah,
Sean Waltman. But you know, uh, I thought for Bronson Reed this was good. I thought for him. I mean, again, not on the level of the other guys, and I don't see him as a good fit for the group. But since he's out there and since he has the mic, for him this was good because of the way he kind of knocked on Seth, and then mentioned
okay,
the match for Jey Uso later. So,
yeah,
but they're putting this group over big. I mean, you'll see later in the show as we go on here. But overall, I thought this was good. And then of course, oh, got bugs out here. Then we got Paul takes the mic back right after
Paul
set.
Paul then takes the mic, and this is when he name drops the Empire. He says the Empire is gonna strike back. Actually, scratch that, reverse it. Uh, the Empire strikes first, and I'm like, all right, put that on a
Yeah,
shirt. There you go. There's your merchandise.
yeah. I mean, you could do a rip off of Star Wars where Seth is, like Luke Skywalker or whatever, or
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader or whatever, and
Yeah,
have the Empire Strikes First, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
That'd be a cool shirt. I think that would sell huge, and
100%.
that would draw in Star Wars fans. I mean, this is what we talked about, right? What do you do to draw in fans of other things? And we even talked about Star Wars and how Star Wars, comes over, and they end up naming it the Empire and the Empires. I mean, how we should be getting paid by WWE right now for feeding them all the creative in the last month for
I,
everything that they're
I
doing.
mean, I will say they've just been waiting for you to do a podcast so you could spill all your knowledge and your
You know,
ideas so that you just
24 years.
take it from you. They've been waiting. They've been waiting
Yeah,
24 years,
23 years. Yeah.
23
But yeah,
years. But
you know,
it's I mean, part of it I feel like is just when you watch WWE, do you I feel like you think two different ways. One, what would you do? And two, where is it going? Like, where is
right.
this actually going to go? And then what would you do? And I think at some point those two thoughts have to combine and just be like, all right, that's the only possible thing that they're going to be doing with this character, with this gimmick, with this faction, tag team, whatever. Um,
Right.
and so I feel like it's from your standpoint, it's just kind of easy to predict these sort of things.
Yeah.
So
I mean, in a way, I mean, gotta gotta remember when I was there, I was in a room with Vince, Paul Heyman, Triple H sometimes, Stephanie, Shane, Bruce Pritchard, Michael Hayes. They're all there except for Vince and Shane, but they're all still heavily involved and with creative and everything else. So I think that mindset um, is still fresh, and even though it's been a long time, but when it comes to wrestling, I mean, it's something that I've loved since I was like a little kid, so it's second nature to me. But um, you know, I think I'm on the same thought process, so it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
But that was a great way to open up the whole show, and Paul
Yeah.
Heyman speaking Spanish was impressive.
Yes. Yes. That was. I think
Jewish guy from New York in Spanish.
everybody in the ring was very surprised.
Yeah,
And yeah, I just liked, you said it a little bit during when we talked about Braun's promo, but everybody just in the ring kind of reacting to each other's promos. I thought that was really well done. Uh, and you know, I feel like it's the first kind of, uh, you know, uh, what's the word? First, I don't know, first little hint of like, okay, these guys can maybe work as a faction. Maybe these guys can work together, and maybe these guys are like like buddies in some way, shape, or form. You would think that
yeah,
they would already be buddies because they've uh, made this faction, but I've never gotten that feel until uh, that promo from all of them. So,
right. I
so yeah,
totally agree. Yeah, they definitely seemed like more of a unit during this promo, even though it kind of seemed like Braun took the mic and disrespected Seth. But it was kind of like things that friends do, like, hey, give me that. I'm going to talk. Oh, sure, go ahead, buddy.
yeah,
Kind of thing. But
yeah, it's something his character would do in that scenario.
absolutely,
So
absolutely,
yeah.
yeah. No more TikTok videos. Just be a dick in the ring, and
Exactly. I'm tired of seeing
and
those videos. um,
but Roman Reigns hasn't been around in a while, and
oh, yes.
Seth Rollins' house got broken into.
Oh, yeah. See, if the house burnt down and they had a dog, it could have been Matt Hardy.
Oh my gosh! Thankfully, that did not happen
Yes,
in real
so
life.
it is not Matt Hardy. We know
It
it's
is not
not
my
Matt Hardy. Um,
wow. Maybe the Reaper Man. I don't know.
but
I think
yeah.
the Reaper
Speaking of
Man
Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman name dropped him, saying that Roman
sure
Reigns
did.
doesn't have the balls to come back with now that this faction is in WWE and
Yeah,
as prevalent as ever, and maybe it's a hint of what's to come in the future.
and this is when I texted you
Yes, you did. Yep.
because I just went, "Holy shit! What if Reigns does come back?" But it's not just Reigns; it's everybody that Paul Heyman has screwed over. So it's Reigns, CM Punk, and Brock Lesnar
Interesting.
against the three in the faction, which could be different by the time we get there because, again, if it's not Breaker, it could be Gunther. No, not Breaker. If it's not Bronson Reed, it could be Gunther.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they keep it at three, they could add Gunther as a fourth. I mean, I don't know.
Add him as a fourth, and then come to the realization that you don't need Bronson Reed, kick him out. I don't know, something like that.
Well, every faction still needs that one guy that can take the falls. They can't always win, so you want that one guy that can, hey, we'll put him in a match and he'll lose, or if we're all in a match, he's the one that takes the pin. So you always have that one guy in the group that's maybe the
The
odd one
weakest
out, like
link.
the X-Pac, yeah, the weak link, and I think Bronson Reed is. Great for a big guy, good mover for a big guy, good work for a big guy, but I still think that, again, he doesn't fit with that team, but they keep him there for that reason. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see what you are predicting. I'm gonna say that. Would you say it's a prediction?
4?
What's to come? Maybe like having those three return and
Yeah, I mean, that would be crazy. I mean, I just don't know, the situation with Brock Lesnar, if he's cleared on all the other stuff that was going on outside the company, um, the legal stuff. So I don't know if that's still an issue or not. If it's not, if he ever wants to come back and wrestle again, I don't know without Vince there, because he was
yeah,
so loyal and had such a closeness to Vince. Uh, I don't know how his relationship with Hunter was or is, but that would be a hell of a hell of a team. I mean, you think of Punk, Lesnar, and Reigns. Holy shit!
Yeah, that'd be
You
great.
know, I mean, it's a short-term thing. You know, it's a way to go against these guys, and you know, again, that could be a Survivor Series thing in November. You know, which is only really 4 months away.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and you can build to that from SummerSlam to the next pay-per-view to you know get there, but you can easily get there within 4 months and have 3 against 3 or 4 against 4 again. If you add Gunther, who else is Heyman screwed over that could go on that team? Um, could be good 4-on-4 match for Survivor Series.
I agree. I would really like to see that. Just just as a through line for Heyman, to because Heyman's been so good with the company, with anyone he's with whatever he's doing, he's killing it. He's killing it out there. And I feel like it would very much help him, not to give him a boost or anything, but it would just help him to have that other storyline to kind of like wrap something up within his character or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I
But
totally get what you're saying. I totally agree with you. Yeah, for all these to come back and haunt him to the ghosts of Christmas past and you know
yeah,
just
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's so good. I mean that's the long term storytelling that we've been talking about with WWE for last month here on the show, is how they are able to go back and weave in what they've done, whether it's last 6 months, 2 years, 5 years. They're really doing a good job of telling those stories, and this fits right into that.
yeah, yeah. Agreed. But then what happened next? I don't know. I kind of just have a
We go
recap.
backstage. Yeah, we go
Yeah.
backstage, and the Judgment Day are playing darts because darts is big back home, and Finn and
Yes.
and JD are playing darts, and
Oh,
uh,
yes, yes, yes. I know.
with
Yeah.
Dom, and they're saying that JD's beating them, but Dom's like, "Oh, it's a tie," which I don't believe. Um, but then we kind of pan over, and there's like a little candlelit vigil for Liv Morgan. I thought this was so good. This was so good, by the way.
Yeah.
And Raquel has an issue with it, like she's not dead, she's still alive, kind of thing. And you know, Roxanne says it's for Dom to help him feel better and all that, but this was just so well delivered.
Yeah.
And Roxanne's going to go out because she's got a match next, and Raquel turns around and kind of blesses herself with the. I
Yes.
cracked up. This was good
Yeah.
stuff, man.
Yeah. I
This is
thought.
what the show's been missing. This kind of comedic stuff in a serious storyline, but you can fit it in. It's all about timing,
Yeah.
and this was so well done.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I just keep liking Judgment Day a little more as Raw and whatever keeps going on. Uh, you know, at first I was like, Judgment Day's whatever. Like I felt
Yeah.
like they took themselves a little too seriously at the beginning, but now they're kind of understanding they could have some fun with it, and you know,
Well, you got to remember, Judgment Day is going back to when Edge was still there because he's the one that started the Judgment Day, and then they jumped him, and that's when he turned face, and then he left the company. So
it,
it's been going on for, gosh, I don't know, 5 years or so, maybe. I don't know how long has been Edge been gone, but
yeah,
but no, they're really doing a great job. Putting the belts on them made more sense. It makes them more serious as well as take them more serious,
yeah,
and then of course the little goofy thing at the end with the cake and Dom thanking them for the cake. They didn't get the cake, so they walk off, and then AJ pops out from behind the case,
yes,
gives them the
yeah.
and
He still got the letter. You can't touch him. He's not
yeah,
cleared yet.
yeah. But AJ's watching them, and he's ready to pounce when that letter is null and void.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they get around that because he's going to carry that letter forever, and
Yes.
you know, going to get an extension on that when he can. But I think come SummerSlam, that letter will be null and void, and it'll be a match, and uh, we'll have a new Intercontinental Champion at that point.
You think AJ is gonna beat him at some point?
I think so because you know uh, AJ is my age, I believe.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, he's not in as good shape as me, But
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's in phenomenal shape. I mean, the name phenomenal fits him because he's in great shape for his age. And I think his days are kind of numbered as far as the business goes. So it'd be nice to have him grab the intercontinental title and give him a run with that for a few months. See what happens.
Agreed. I would like to see that. Um, have his last title run, and then that'll be it from AJ.
Yeah, maybe. But then we go into Kairi Sane and against Roxanne because they just walked out to go to the ring, and this was a great match.
Yeah, I
I
thought
thought.
this match was really good as well.
Yeah,
I really liked it. This was, I think, the first match I've ever seen from Roxanne Perez, and yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really good.
yeah. A couple of things in there that needed some work. I mean, right before a commercial break, Roxanne jumped on Kyrie's arm at the ring post. Come
Yeah,
back and she didn't sell it at all. I mean, it was like, and even Cole had mentioned that was her injured arm. But we come back and she's doing all these moves where she has to pivot on her arms and she's not selling it. But then we finally get to a move where then she starts hitting her arm more and then she's selling it. So I mean, little things like that bug me a little bit. Maybe they shouldn't, but they do. I mean, if you're going to go after a limb and you're going to speak about how it's an injured part of the body, you got to sell it. You
agreed.
got to sell it.
Agreed.
And not later when it gets hit again, you know. But and then there's a Hurricane Rana that was kind of sloppy, and the announcers kind of covered by she didn't get all of it, and that happened again later with another move. She didn't get all of it too many times, so they got to kind of tighten that up a little bit. But overall, I thought the match was great. I thought both of them looked amazing. Um, yeah, I I,
Yeah.
I like this one, and the aftermath with Asuka as well, and you know
Yes.
going back and forth, and Raquel getting involved, and then the uh the tag team getting back together, I guess the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah. 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 Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah. So overall, yeah, I give this a solid 8 out of 10 match.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was enjoyable. This was not around the time I fell asleep, so I watched the match. um, but yeah, I thought it was really good. Thought it was really good. Um,
Good.
but then the next match, or no, we didn't
Well,
after this. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
they had a recap of Cross and Sammy from last week,
Yes.
and then Jackie Redmond interviews Sammy, who's banged up, and he says he's focusing on Breaker tonight, and then he'll focus on Cross later. Sammy leaves, and Scarlett walks in, and Redmond asks Scarlett something. I forget what she said to her, and Scarlett says no, and that's it. But so Scarlett got a big pop, um, you know. And then after that, we go to the American Maid, who are talking with Adam Pierce, and El Grande Americano is going to be in action tonight, which blows everybody's mind because Chad Gable, who some people think El Grande Americano is, which is absurd,
Yeah.
um, is injured. So why couldn't? Well, what's it got to do with El Grande Americano? So Niall says she wants in the Battle Royal because it's going to be a Battle Royal at Evolution, which I think is awesome. I love a good Battle Royal. So Niall is in that.
Yes.
And once they leave, Sane and Oscar come in, and then they get into the tag match at Evolution um, to compete for a #1 title spot at SummerSlam.
And those are the same belts that Roxanne and Raquel have, right?
Correct.
Cool. 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 Okay.
Correct.
Awesome.
And then we have a Nikki Bella promo, and she's going to be in the Battle Royal, uh, which she says she'll win, and she looks amazing. I mean,
Yes.
she looks the same as she did when she walked in the door. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how many years ago, at this point, almost 20 years ago. She's phenomenal looking.
Yeah.
And
Her stats are crazy.
or what?
Her stats are crazy.
Oh, yeah. Um, yeah. So, and then we go to the ring for Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker.
Here it is. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. And right as Sami Zayn's coming out, um, what was it? Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross came out and just beat up Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn, he already had injured. Was he already
Ribs.
injured? Yeah, he already had
Yeah, he had
injured
the injured ribs.
ribs.
They cut out in the promo earlier.
Yeah.
But if you notice, the crowd is chanting the song, and this is the problem for me with WWE right now, is they have such catchy tunes for ring entrances that people are singing the songs whether you're a heel or a face, and you can't really tell if somebody's over or not. Just because they're singing your song doesn't mean you're over, right? But if you look at the crowd when they're not singing the song, they're not cheering for Sammy either. I mean, he's not that over.
Yeah.
It's the song that's over, in my opinion. There's not a whole ton of people. I was watching the crowd. I was pausing. I was rewinding. I was looking. You don't see a ton of people stand up. Yeah, Sami Zayn. It's people just singing the song,
Yeah.
and that kind of can hurt where you're going with a storyline because you really want to play off the crowd. Okay, this crowd is going nuts for this guy. You want to put him over more. If this crowd is booing a guy, you want to put. But if they're all singing songs because they're just catchy and just that's how crowds are nowadays, they just want to be involved in somehow. Well, are they really singing because they like him, or are they really singing because they hate him? We don't know.
Yeah.
But here I didn't feel that the crowd was really digging Sami Zayn at all.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wasn't either. I was just like, all right, like, we know you're injured. You're still gonna like wrestle. Let's wrap
Yeah,
this up a little bit. Like,
and,
go ahead.
and once Karrion Kross attacked him, what was the crowd chanting? We want
CM
Cross. We
Punk.
want
I don't know.
no.
Yeah.
They were saying we want Cross. They weren't booing him. They weren't booing Karrion Kross. They weren't saying we love you, Sammy. We want Sammy. How dare you hurt our main guy here? No, we want Cross, and the whole crowd was going nuts for Cross. So this is not going, I don't think, the way they wanted it to go, which I think in turn will help turn Sammy heel.
Okay. And then have Cross be more prevalent as a wrestler.
Absolutely, as an on-screen performer, he's building his own legacy right now. You know, he got the crowd behind him himself. Some of the social media posts, he went on social media and used that platform for the right reasons, as a wrestler should, by putting himself over and saying what he's going to do and saying how he wants to be as a performer, not going out there doing stupid TikTok videos with, significant others, making himself look weak and stuff like that. And now the crowd loves him because it's like this guy feels real.
Yeah.
He feels like a real badass. And then he comes on the show and he does stuff like this to Sami Zayn, where he beats the shit out of him. And, sure, he was hurt already, but you know what? I came here to see fighting. It's sports entertainment. Yes, I want to be entertained, but I also want to see somebody's ass get kicked.
Yes.
And when you're doing the ass kicking, this is the guy
Yeah.
right here. This
The
is what I
pure
want to see.
aggression. Give me pure aggression.
Absolutely.
Ruthless aggression.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Ruthless.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But then, so we go to break, and they finally were able to scrape Sammy off the floor and put him in the ring. And
Yeah.
and there's a whole thing where Adam Pearce is in there. Are you sure you can go? Oh, I can go. I'm great. And he's talking like he's fine, and the crowd's kind of like, yeah, okay. But they're still not. I'm not buying the crowds behind them. They're still not
Yeah.
like, yes, let's go, Sammy. There's no let's go, Sammy's chance.
It's true. It's very
I
true.
mean, uh, you know. So
If
they let them match
if it was
and here
Penta
comes
with the injured ribs, you think it would be different? The crowd would act different?
yeah.
Okay. You think we would get some "Let's Go Penta" chants and
Yeah. So, and I'll tell you why. I think, we talked about this before where Sammy's kind of like a Mick Foley,
Mhm.
but I think they've played it too long now with Sammy to where the crowd's now, okay, we're over it. I think they should have pulled the trigger a lot sooner, But when you have people coming out saying, and this is where it turned bad for Roman Reigns when he was first a babyface, is when you have people coming out and going, "You're going to be a champion. I know you are," and it's like, oh, okay, no, we're going to make him a champion. I don't want you telling us that he's going to be a champion. We'll make him a champion. That's the way the crowd thinks. It's like, oh, so you're telling me now I got to do this? No, wrestling crowd. That's not how wrestling crowd minds work.
Yeah.
And people can disagree with this all they want, but when you go to an arena and they're telling you who to cheer for,
Yeah.
am I boring you?
Yeah, you are. You're talking about Sami Zayn. Sorry.
Ah, messed up, man. See? This is the effect. But I think that the ship is sailing on this one, and
Yeah.
they're waiting too long to pull the trigger on Sammy. And I think at this point they got to turn him heel. And I think it's going to happen sooner than later,
Yeah.
because again the crowd's getting restless with him. They supported him through everything with the bloodline, with the Usos and Solo, and he didn't produce anything. They want when the crowd supports somebody, they want that person to succeed and get some reward for it. Well, Sammy hasn't done that. He's just keeps battling through and battling through, and that's great for that short window of time. But then eventually, it's kind of like, all right, do something. Poking a stick at him, do something. And he's just getting his ass kicked all the time. But I think they've worn it out so much to where the crowd's just getting restless. And now you have this new badass Cross coming in, and
Yeah.
he's making shit happen.
Yeah.
But
I feel like I don't know. I feel like we all knew Sammy wasn't going to win. Do you think that maybe had to do with the crowd, or like,
no, because
do you
you know
think
what?
the crowd knew that Sammy wasn't going to win, so they were just like, whatever. This is kind of just a whatever match.
But still, I mean, like you said, if Penta came out with the broken ribs or whatever it was, taped up ribs, and Penta was in that situation, the crowd would be behind Penta.
Yeah.
They'd be, because Penta would know how to get them involved, and come on, let's go. And it's because Penta's still fresh. Penta is, still new and still over. But, you know, I don't care. I mean, I knew Sammy wasn't going to win that match, but I didn't care either.
Okay.
With Penta, I'd be like, oh, okay, let's go. Penta's got a fighting chance here because he's Penta, you know,
Yeah.
or maybe AJ Styles has a chance here because he's AJ Styles. But with Sammy, I'm like, no, I mean,
He's cooked.
because of his look and because of everything else, which they talked about earlier, and it didn't matter. It was just a simple match for Breaker. He got again. We had another spear, right? And
We had 3 spears, I think.
yeah,
I think it was 3
yeah.
spears.
Yeah, well, the finish was Sammy jumping off the second rope into a spear. Um,
Yeah, I don't know how many
so
more times we're gonna see uh, in the air spears or mid air spears.
yeah,
they
yeah,
really
and
love using those.
yeah, again, less is more with some of these moves, man. There's a match that comes on later. We'll get into it, and it was like so many big moves. Like, oh, come on, stop! You're killing me. But yeah,
Okay.
you knew that Sammy was going to lose, and but even when he what happened on the outside? Um, oh yeah, Breaker ran around the ring on the outside and speared Sammy on the outside, and the crowd was chanting one more time, one more
Yes.
time, and
Yes.
it's like that's not good, Sammy Zayn. That's not good.
Yeah.
So they got to do something there with Sammy sooner or later. But um, but yeah, that was the end of the match, and then we go to backstage. War Raiders, New Day interaction, and then Becky comes by,
Oh
and
yeah.
they're mourning the belts being gone, and which I thought was funny. They were mourning the belts, but
I thought it was funny until Becky got like kind of involved in it, where she was just
yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, one more thing," or she said, "I thought," or she agreed with New Day saying that Adam Pearce doesn't make like good decisions, and then
Right.
she was just like, well, you guys made a good decision by kicking out Big E because that guy was a scumbag. I was just like, okay, that's kind
Yeah.
of whatever. I don't know. I was just like even the crowd was just like dead silent. Like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Not a big, huge Becky fan. Um, on the mic. I thought it was a little funny because they're all friends, yeah, and that's
yeah,
part of the problem. They're all friends, so it was kind of a funny thing. But at the same time, I mean, you want her to be over as a heel, not to be haha funny. Um, and it was just kind of like, okay, whatever.
yeah.
But
Um,
social media will do that.
yeah. Speaking of Becky being good on the mic, what do you think of her promo?
Well, I predicted, I think it was last week or the week before, it was Becky, Lyra, and Bailey were going to be a triple threat at
Yes, you
Evolution.
did.
That's what's happening. Um, I thought I thought the promo was okay. Um, you know, Bailey comes out and Lyra then comes out and passes Bailey into the ring and
Shoulder
gets there
checked
first.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and starts on the mic and again, not too sold on Lyra and her facials. Um, and then but again, eventually Bailey calls Lyra a bitch, and then Lyra goes to hit Bailey and she misses and hits Becky, and then there's a bit of a skirmish between all three of them, and I don't know, it just even with Lyra's music, I don't know if that's piped in chanting with her music, but I was looking at the crowd, and the crowd didn't seem like they were chanting, so I think it's piped in.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
like, what are we
yeah,
doing here?
you gotta think, we're watching Raw for the wrestling and storyline, and you're over here watching the crowd. What does that say about the program? You know?
Well, I mean, I'm doing that because we're doing this show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I probably still would do it anyway because that's just being in the business for so many years. But i- if I'm doing it, I'm sure other people are as well. But you don't want to. I mean, it's easy if you just look at the crowd. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
she's not that over. Why are they chanting? And they're not, you know? So it's just weird that they're forcing that on us, and it's just like you don't want to force stuff. Just let everything be organic. Let it be natural. Let it go. I mean, if somebody's gonna turn heel, if the crowd's not high on somebody, let them be not high on them. Let them just boo them. Let them just be who they are.
Yeah.
That's how you determine shit back in the day. Why are we forcing it now? Um, but anyway, that's that. I'm
Do
glad
you
that was over because
do you think they try to force certain uh wrestlers on to the fans just to see, like, just in their corporate brain they're like, well, this person would probably be the best at selling merch, or like, because I wonder how much influence their ideas of selling merch has on pushing somebody. um
yeah, um, I think some merch stuff can be involved in that because they've already got merch made. They want to sell it, right? So it's like shit, you know, let's put them over as much as we can and get this out the door. We've put a lot of stock in them already. But also, you look at the storyline and where they want the storyline to go creatively, it's kind of like, okay, well, we want this to go here and we want Lyra to be the face here because Bailey's going to be, this face and she's going to help Bailey get over even more. But then Becky's going to be a heel. But it's like, no, just let it go organically. And to me, that shows they don't have faith in the talent themselves. And that's just how this generational talent is. I mean, it's just they're not like the old school where they can go out there and they can ad lib and they can like Becky can ad lib.
mhm.
I will give her that. She's very good at if a promo goes sideways, she can definitely handle her own. Lyra is not there yet. Bailey, I think, can do it, but in a situation where you have this trio, and you want somebody to be the next, champ or whatever it may be, they want to control the narrative of well, this is going to be a heel, this is going to be a face, and this is going to be a face. And no, just let it go. Just let the
Yeah.
crowd decide who they want to boo and cheer, and that's how you make your superstars. You know,
Yeah.
again, they force Roman down our throats. And forcing Sammy down your throats. And as you can see, sometimes it backfires. Sometimes it doesn't go the way they want it to go. At least not right away. Roman was just so good that he eventually got over being a heel. Um, and that's when the crowd started loving him. They hated him when he turned face, and then they loved him once he turned heel, and he was a tribal chief. Same thing happened with The Rock. I mean, when he first came in, they shoved The Rock down everybody's throat, Rocky Maivia, and everybody die, Rocky die. But as soon as he turned heel and he was that cool catchphrase, cool eyebrow, cool wrestling move heel, people started cheering him. And then it was like, okay, now we can turn him face because now the people love him.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you let it go organically, and that's how you get your the best bang for your buck out of a talent.
So who do you think is more in charge of like coming up with these decisions? Because you have Triple H who has been on the wrestler side of things, and you would think that someone, hold on, give me a sec, someone as Triple H would be able to give some good insight of like crowd um, um, integration and to see like to tell how important someone could be if they are pushed a certain way. Like how much influence do you think he has on those decisions?
Yeah, I think he's got a good amount of influence, but I don't think the book stops with him.
Mm.
I know he's kind of, yeah, he answers to Nick Khan. Nick Khan is pretty much the Vince McMahon of the company these days. Um, but you also got shareholders, and they have big input too. You
Mm-hmm.
know, hey, how are the profits going? Who's selling this much? Okay, we want that person pushed more because they're doing X amount of dollars in merchandise, and we want better revenue. So maybe we can squeeze more money out of them. And that's the problem when you have a publicly traded company. Now you got to answer to shareholders, and The Rock has a lot of shares in there, and I'm sure he's pulling some strings into what he wants to see, which may not be a good thing. Um, but at the end of the day, I think I think Triple H has a good amount of influence, but I don't think everything that we see on TV is his idea. I think there's definitely some footprints from somebody else, and I would beg to believe that the great things that we see on TV are definitely part of Hunter's because he's such a great mind for the business. And some of the stuff, especially with the Samoans, I think Rock has some influence there, and some of that's not so great, but some of it is. Uh, but again, I don't know. I'm not that close to it, but I would say that Hunter doesn't have full control over everything, but I'm certain he has some strong input
Hmm.
in general.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So you mentioned The Rock maybe having some influence on the Samoans. So I think that's a good segue into the Bronson Reed and Jey Uso match. Um,
Yeah,
and I don't really have much to say about this match. This match, it was just whatever. These are two people, two performers, wrestlers that I don't really care about. I don't. I have no draw to any of these performers.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I This is around the time I fell asleep.
well, you could have took a nap and come back, and Jey Uso's music will still be playing.
Yeah, yeah. That is what happened. I woke up and he was still coming out of the crowd.
Well, I will tell you, they were shorter this week than any other week on Jey Uso's music. They
Yeah,
didn't. I think they did the whole "Let's go again" during the commercial break. So again, they've listened to us.
they're watching the show.
They've understood that okay, for the live crowd, it's good. For the home crowd, it's not. So let's do this during a commercial break so the home people don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
Because yes, we'd rather watch an Allstate commercial than having to go another 2 minutes of Jey Uso.
Or those Minute Maid commercials. Juice it up.
Anything.
Or whatever they're
Yeah.
saying. Bring the
So,
juice. I forgot what the thing is, but
so yet again, you're welcome, WWE.
it's what we do.
Commission basis, whatever. But
Just as
yeah,
long
this
as long as they share the video. I don't, you can take things from us, but just share it. Share the video
yeah,
with everybody, That's the only thing we ask.
like and subscribe.
Yeah.
That's it.
There you go.
Not too much.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, this was. I mean, we knew Bronson Reed was most likely going to go over here because of how strong they pushed the Empire throughout the whole episode. The thread, right? This is what you want on a wrestling show is a thread. And you start with it, looping it through the hole. At the end, you tie that knot and pull that thread, right? Sew it up nice and tight, and that's what you do. And that's what they did here. And Bronson Reed didn't get the clean victory, right? Didn't even get the victory. Actually, he got disqualified, but was made to look like a monster by throwing that chair into Jey Uso's face, which looked brutal.
Yeah.
Did a very good job. And then he comes and gives a couple of tsunamis to Jey Uso, and all the officials come down to try and
Put an end to
help
it.
Jey Uso out, scrape him out of there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the tsunamis that I'm just like, I don't care. This is not this is a move that anybody can do on the card. So it's kind of just like, is it just because you're a big dude? That's why it's so supposed to be so deadly.
Right. I mean,
but
hence tsunami. I mean, yeah. I mean, but that's the part of the problem with a lot of the moves these days is they're so overdone by everybody.
yeah,
I mean, you have the War Raiders who do the same thing, uh, and that's just a general move in their matches, you know. But it's Bronson Reed's finisher. It's kind of like having the super kick if it was Shawn Michaels' finisher still, but everybody's doing a super kick. I mean,
yeah,
it's so watered down now that you have to come up with some kind of crazy finisher to make it look good. And which is why I think when you have moves that, well, I'm not a huge Lucha fan, but that Penta does or Ray Phoenix does, they look cool because they're not in every other match, but they don't use it as a finisher. It's just another move for them in their match. And it's kind of like, okay, there's no psychology now.
yeah,
But not to get off the path here with the tsunamis and Bronson Reed, but yes, he does need a big move like this to finish people off, kind of like a Bam Bam Bigelow did back in the day. And I don't know what else he could do. Maybe a Samoan drop or something. I don't know, but he's got to do some kind of big move, and I think this is it. But again, if nobody else was doing it, I think it would mean something else, mean more.
yeah.
Um,
But
but anyway,
yeah,
we're moving on. I mean, since this
yeah,
was not, this was whatever. LA Knight did a promo on Rollins. Saturday Night's Main Event promo, and then a Io and Rhea promo. A lot of promos going on.
yeah,
Building up Saturday Night's Main Event and Evolution. They got a lot of events coming on this weekend, so they're building those up. And then El Grande Americano.
woo!
Well,
My favorite luchador hero.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So
yeah, it was a good match.
yeah,
Decent.
I thought, yeah. Do you realize who El Grande was?
No, he's El Grande Americano. What do you mean? Realize who he was?
All right, I won't spoil it.
Yeah, he's El Grande Americano.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
We'll never see who he is under the mask, because that would be just so against the Lucha Libre code.
absolutely, absolutely.
So
Kaiser did a good job. So El Grande Americano against Dragon Lee, and this was actually a good match. Actually, I thought Kaiser being under the mask did a good job of wrestling a lucha style. He looked really good. So, uh, and he finishes off the match with the little plate in the face mask and headbutt and show's over.
Yeah, all jokes aside, this is how we can get a Chad Gable versus Grande Americano match.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
which you also predicted.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was on the show or not.
Of course it
but...
was. Yep. We talked about it.
Okay. Yeah.
But then we go backstage with Penta and Heyman.
Yes.
A little bit
I
of spin.
I am Team Penta. I am in love with Penta in the ring. He is
Yeah,
fantastic.
there you go.
We've said it for the past couple weeks that maybe there's some work he needs to do with timing and stuff, and I feel like those complaints are still prevalent, but he is just a great performer. I think he's great at hyping the crowd up, and it's not just let's hype the crowd up and then do nothing with it. He
Right.
does something with it. He works with the crowd, and you can tell by the match that the crowd is 100% on him. Um, and yeah, sorry, I just wanted to
Oh,
get that.
I couldn't agree more with you. I
Yeah,
mean, he is like comparing him to Sami Zayn earlier. How if he had to come out with the broken ribs, he'd be over. They'd be chanting, "Let's go, Penta." You're totally right. I mean, he's so over. He's so good. Again, he's still fresh, right? But he's also in important storylines, and he's being put out there in a positive way, not just to get beat or as filler for something else. But I think they have so many avenues to go with Panta, that it could be good road for him here. And
yeah,
when Braun Breaker came in and Panta decided to leave, and he gives and Breaker says, "This isn't baseball. What's the hand signals?" That was funny. Uh,
yes,
but Breaker, man, when he gets that, like he has this like it's a stupid kind of thing, and he just doesn't understand certain things, but he's annoyed about it. Cracks me up, but it's so good too because like he's gonna get pissed off and he's gonna explode, man.
yeah.
But yeah, so Breaker's so good. Again, stay off TikTok, dude. Just stop.
Yeah, Breaker.
Um,
He's got it. He's the full package.
he is. He is. Um, but then we go to the ring, and our favorite ring general is out there.
Gunther.
And yeah, he comes out and he's talking about Goldberg dodging him and how he can't show up and blah 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 blah. Good little short promo. But then here comes in the Chevy Chevelle SS 1969, beautiful red.
Yeah. He got that right when he got signed on for Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Goldberg, he's a muscle car enthusiast.
Yeah.
So
So
this is definitely up his alley. But I like the way they pulled into the parking lot there, and he marches on down the ring. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really well done. I mean, they're really protecting him because he's not a spring chicken. He still looks great. He can still talk on the mic pretty good. But they're doing the right things here to get him over. And I still totally believe that Saturday will not be his last match. And I still totally believe that Gunther is going to turn and go with, not that he's not a heel already, of course he is, but go with the Empire. I mean, the Ring General and the Empire. I mean, come on.
yeah, the ring general of the Empire. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see on the predictions because I think that is very possible at this point. Um, yeah. I mean, every time Paul Heyman is on the phone, like, hey, come out here, all right, come out here now. I'm always thinking it's gonna be Gunther. It's gonna be Gunther. It would be
Yeah.
crazy if it's Gunther, but we still have yet to see it, and we'll see if we do see it. but I just feel like it would be the only way. It would be the first way to get the faction with a belt at some point,
Mm-hmm.
because it's I 100% see the faction having all the belts at some point. It just, we're the Empire. Look at us, like we have all the belts.
Right.
Like that just
Right.
it's gonna happen at some point, and I don't know. I feel like
Well, Paul Heyman is the Oracle.
yeah, yeah, and I feel
But
like go ahead. What?
getting back to this promo here real quick, though, I
Yeah,
thought it was great when he got in Gunther's face and the crowd just started chanting, "Holy shit, holy shit." So, they were loving this. They were loving that Goldberg showed up and they were not expecting that at all, you know? So that was a huge plus and they got to do more of that, back to when, the Attitude Era was surprise after surprise after surprise. Another thing that Vince Russo was good at, was uh, working with Vince and McMahon and getting those surprises in there, and week after week and having something different and something new, and you know that even the live crowd was not expecting, and
yeah,
helping keep things kayfabe really helps, and keep things a secret. So this was huge. And he smacked the mic out of Gunther's hand and then gave him a right hand, and Gunther hightailed it out of there, you know, and that tells me even more that Gunther's winning this match on Saturday, whether it's by DQ or if he loses by DQ, but he's not going to lose the title,
yeah.
in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. I think Gunther's gonna still have that title by the end of the match, whether it's a clean finish or disqualification. He's still gonna have it.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah,
And then we go to the last match, Penta and Rollins.
Penta and Rollins, a match that I was not expecting to like as much as I did. Um, this match was actually really good, and I think it was because of Penta. Penta had so many good spots at this match, um, and
But see, this is what I was talking about earlier, is he has so many good spots because he does stuff that you haven't seen from anybody else on the show,
yeah,
right? So that's what's like, holy shit. Like,
yeah,
and that's why these wrestlers have to have their set moves in their matches, just like the old days.
yeah,
And sorry to go back and all those the old days. I don't care. You want these matches to mean more. This is what happens. Penta has his moves. Nobody else is doing it on the show. Okay. You have to get back to that. So every match seems special and every talent seems special and what they do seems special. My only concern, my only issue with this is Penta's doing all these big moves, didn't get a pin at all. So at the end of the
yeah,
day, such great big moves that were like, holy shit, but you can't get a win,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. But
Wait
I don't know. I don't think that's that big of an issue, in my opinion, because of how cool these moves are, and because I feel like in this particular match, we already knew Rollins was going to take the win, um, and so it was just kind of like, all right, well, seeing what he's doing is pretty dope. you know, there was a couple spots I had to rewind because I was like, I don't know how they managed to do that. Like, I don't know how like they like I don't know. My what I was watching, my brain was not processing of like how it was possible that they were doing certain spots. And yeah, I just want more Penta because he is fantastic with his moves, and I feel like of all the the past three Raws that I've watched, um, still on the hot streak. I don't think I've seen anyone move in the ring as unique as Penta has moved in the ring,
Right.
and yeah, I don't know. It's just he doesn't feel like your basic all right, gonna suplex the dude, gonna, jump off the top turnbuckle, do like a little frog splash or tsunami or whatever, the wrestler's calling it. And it doesn't seem like your basic moves. It's, you know, very fresh and very just like over the top, like what the fuck? Like how do you do that? um, but yeah, that was my take on the match, and the match I don't really like Seth Rollins as a wrestler, but even his work in the match during this one was really good, um, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they complemented each other really well. Ag Again, my only pet peeve is doing so many big moves and then you lose to one move.
Yeah,
Curb stomp, and that was but
agreed.
uh,
Well,
the,
his family jewels were hurt.
yeah, well, I guess,
Yeah,
but
you you try getting up after getting curb stomped and headbutted in the nuts.
yeah, you try and get up after so many different lucha moves where your head gets thrown to the mat
Yes, yes, yes,
to be
yes.
able to headbutt somebody in the nuts and do a curb stomp.
Agreed.
Uh, Seth Rollins is a better man than me. Um, but no, it was still a great match. It was still. I'm not knocking the match at all. I
Yeah,
just a little more psychology, but then you had the lucha style, meeting the Mexican or meeting the American style of wrestling, and two great performers, two great talents in there. Great match overall, and it served its purpose. Got done what it was supposed to do, and you know he gets the win. Seth Rollins gets the win, and LA Knight comes in, jumps Rollins after the match, and Breaker comes down, and LA Knight skips town, and that's how we go off the air, I believe.
and he's so over with the crowd too. Like he,
LA Knight,
yeah,
still over.
nobody knew what he was saying when he was like yelling at Seth Rollins in the crowd, but they were able to time it just right of when he's gonna say LA Knight, and then yeah,
Mhm.
like
And that's
just
what we were saying
phenomenal.
before. You have to have that interaction with the crowd to really get over. And he's got it. He's got that, and that's why started getting some flack when he first came out as LA Knight because people were saying to rip off of The Rock and stuff like that. I was like, he's a newer version of what The Rock and Austin might have been, but he's his own guy and he's getting it over. So who cares? I mean, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah, he's looking good out there. He's over with the crowd, and he's definitely a future champ as well.
yeah. Well, I don't know. He's a bit on the older side, so I don't know. Like, right? Isn't he a
Doesn't look
little?
it though.
Yeah, he doesn't look it.
Yeah, he's the early 40s, I would think, maybe.
Yeah, so
Maybe I'm wrong.
there's a timer on him. There's a timer
There's
on
a timer on
everybody,
everybody.
but
Only so many bumps.
yeah,
And that's what I had heard about Karrion Cross too. Is like that he was. I don't know if this is true or not, but uh, he doesn't want to take so many bumps, and that's was their concern over pushing him in the first place. Um, because you got to take bumps and you got to do what you got to do. And like even in his match with who did he fight last week? Sammy. Uh, he kind of didn't take so many bumps, but that's kind of being smart because he's not no spring chicken either. This carrying
yeah,
cross and take so many bumps at a certain age, and you're gonna be done sooner than later. Uh, so I don't think it's a fact that he doesn't want to bump. I think he just wants to make sure the bumps are smart bumps and not bumps that are unnecessary that are just going to shorten your career.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, I also
but
feel like they've gotten a little on the safer side from taking bumps nowadays to where you can extend the career expectancy of a wrestler. Um,
sure,
so
absolutely. Yeah, I mean the ring's definitely softer than it used to be. The padding around the ring area is definitely softer than it used to be.
I'm sure it still
So
hurts like hell, but
oh yeah, I'm not saying oh absolutely. I'm
yeah,
not saying that these will get banged up, but it's definitely not as um bad as it used to be. Because I mean, man, the rings back even in early 2000s. I mean, those rings, not a lot of give, man. Not a lot of give, and
yeah,
that was a big complaint from the WCW guys that came over when we did the invasion stuff and we bought WCW at the time. Is like how stiffer the WWE rings were compared to WCW rings. Um, you
really,
know, and softest spot in the ring is the middle. You're taking bumps along around the edge areas near the ropes. That's harder, because everything goes in the middle, right?
yeah,
So a lot of guys try not to take those bumps around the edge too much these days, because they just want to prolong their careers. And I get it.
Yeah, smart. Smart. I mean, it makes you money, makes you a lot of money. Might as well prolong that. You
Yeah.
know? Um,
Hey, let's run down the Saturday night's main event card, and let's do
Saturday
the
night's main event. And
yeah.
then, yeah. So for our predictions, so at the time of taping this podcast, there are only 3 confirmed matches for Saturday night's main event, which will air on Peacock, I believe, in the U.S. and Netflix in the Europes on July 12th. So, yes, and this is going to be out in Atlanta, Georgia, the State Farm
Yep.
Arena.
Goldberg's hometown.
Yes, and yeah. So I feel like we've talked about the biggest match pretty much. So let's start off with the other ones that I feel like. I mean, I had no idea that this was a match until looking this up, but it is Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. Because I don't watch SmackDown, I had no idea that this match was a thing. So, based on what you've seen from SmackDown, how do you think this match will go?
You know, this is interesting. Orton just lost to Cody at Night of Champions. Do you have him lose back to back? You know,
That's very
big
true.
event? I mean, it's not a PLE, but still, um, it's a bigger deal than Raw and SmackDown. But then do you also have McIntyre lose again, because he hasn't been on a hot streak either? I think this could be one where, if they're going to turn Orton heel, that he does lose and just flips out. Gives him a reason to start, going around punting everybody in the head again. But I think that Orton gets the win here. I think somebody helps cost McIntyre the match, and Orton goes over.
Okay. Who do you think will cost McIntyre the match? Just anybody?
Not
Yeah.
just anybody. I mean, it's got to be somebody that they're really putting him in a program with.
It's going to be the announcer of the arena. They're going to be like, Drew McIntyre, your car is parked in a red lane.
Red zone.
In a red zone. Yeah. And then Randy Orton gives him the RKO out of nowhere.
I think if they're gonna do something with Rhodes as well, maybe Cody comes down and he could inadvertently cost Orton the match. I don't know, but I think somebody gets involved somehow, and I do see Orton going over though, because I don't think he can really give him another loss out the gate like this.
Yeah.
After King of the Ring finals. So not sure who they would put in there, but I mean, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like this match could go either way, just because it really doesn't have any merit to anything that's going on in the mainstay of the storylines. So I feel like it's just another match at this point. I don't really think it's gonna have that big of an impact on the future of anything. So, but I could be completely wrong, and I hope I am. I hope it does do something, and something that I'm not expecting. But yeah. Then we have LA Knight versus Seth Rollins. This I feel like is just gonna further the storyline of all the people that were in Money in the Bank that Rollins kind of defeated, which is LA Knight, Penta. Jey Uso wasn't in Money in the Bank, but was he in Money in the Bank?
Gosh, you're going back more than 10 minutes ago, so I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah,
But I think Penta gets involved here. Once you have the Empire, Empire's going to come out and Penta's going to get involved. And I think we're setting up something else here for, your Raw or SummerSlam or something like that. But you know, again, is it depending on what matches last? If this is the last match and Gunther's already joined the Empire and Gunther comes out, if the Gunther Goldberg matches last, then I think that the Empire comes out to help Rollins earlier, and Penta comes out and there's a whole schmoz, and somehow LA Knight goes over. But I think Rollins still comes out, and even though Gunther joins forces with the Empire, Rollins still comes out and, am I going to challenge you for the belt or not? He says he's not going to. He's not going to. But
not yet.
Not yet. But I see LA Knight taking the win over Rollins here due to people getting involved. Because LA Knight, he hasn't been on a crazy winning streak, and he's so over. It just seems like they need to start propelling him up the ladder a little bit. He can't get a clean win over Rollins, but I think he can get a win if, somebody comes down to help Rollins, but then here comes Penta, and, maybe even Sami Zayn,
Yeah.
And but then also on the flip side, does Sami Zayn come down and, get involved as a heel? Who knows? I mean, there's so many things going on right now. I don't want to get too convoluted here and say too many things like Gunther's going to turn heel, Sami's going to turn heel, but
then we just have a bunch of heels.
just a heel show. Yes, there you go.
Yeah, but who cares? As long as they're putting on a good show, giving us good storylines. I don't care if we have more heels than faces, or more faces than heels.
Have more heels. You should have more heels.
Okay.
Because that's a big threat to the baby faces, and that makes you cheer the baby faces even more. Because now it's like, holy shit, the deck's stacked against them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
when you have just, even keel, it's kind of like, okay. But yeah, those are my predictions for SNME.
Well, we're missing Gunther versus Goldberg. I mean, we kind of talk about it, but we'll just briefly cover it.
All right. Well,
I think
Goldberg,
Gunther's winning this.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I think Goldberg spears Gunther. Gunther rolls out of the ring. Goldberg gets out as well. He goes to walk around, but all of a sudden here comes Breaker from the crowd. And Breaker runs around like he does and spears Goldberg. Maybe that's a DQ. Or maybe he gets him, rolls him in.
Yeah, maybe the ref's down or something.
Maybe the ref's down or is just distracted by, Bronson Reed or Paul Heyman or somebody. And then they roll him back in, and then Gunther can pin him. But I can see, because it's his hometown, you want a disqualification. Maybe you don't want to see him get beat right there. But maybe you do. Maybe you want to get them over as heelish as possible, and make that crowd fucking boo the hell out of Braun Breaker and Gunther and Paul Heyman. If that happens, but that's what I'm predicting will happen.
I would like to see it. I mean, this is the only title match so far that is going to be at Saturday Night's Main Event, and I feel like you can't have a Money in the Bank wielder and not have them show up to certain title matches, especially a title that we've already seen Seth Rollins kind of, we saw a little bit last week on what was it, June 30th's Monday Night Raw, to where we had that little promo with Rollins and Gunther. So maybe this will sort of have ties to that in a way. I don't know. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's a lot up in the air when it comes to this match. But I just don't see them putting the title on Goldberg, especially if they're considering this his last match.
Yeah, yeah, and the time taping this podcast, there's only been 3 matches confirmed, and I'm guessing that once SmackDown comes out, they'll have another match, or maybe they won't. But yeah. So those are our predictions for Saturday night's main event of July 12th, 2025, and now the event that has to follow that, which is the all women's pay-per-view, PLE, whichever you want to call it, Evolution. Don't know why this isn't on Saturday, like a normal main event. I know, see, because of Saturday night's main event, but I feel like could be its own pay-per-view, and it could have just been on Saturday. I don't know.
Yeah, I prefer the traditional Sunday pay-per-views. I don't like pay-per-views on Saturdays at all. I grew up with pay-per-views on Sundays,
You're
and that was it.
right. They used to be on Sundays.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally forgot that. I totally forgot pay-per-views used to be on Sundays because then you'd have Raw immediately after.
Mhm.
I completely
Yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah,
But
yeah,
I get it. I mean, this generation, I mean, it's Saturdays and sometimes Saturdays and Sundays, um, depending on the event. WrestleMania.
yeah. WrestleMania. Wasn't there another one that was 2 nights? Survivor Series.
Well, I think they're going to be doing SummerSlam 2 nights, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so. But what are the matches on Evolution?
So I don't know. I'm just gonna go in order of what this list is showing me. Um, Actually, I probably shouldn't because they're doing the most important ones first. So we're gonna have a Jade Cargill versus Naomi one-on-one rematch from WrestleMania 41. Um, if you were to ask me before reading this, who who did Jade Cargill wrestle at WrestleMania 41, I would not have been able to tell you. So I
No.
I don't know what this is coming from. I guess I just haven't been keeping up with SmackDown, obviously, because she's more prevalent on SmackDown. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah, I see. Cargo, I believe, got the win at WrestleMania over Naomi. That was a revenge match for taking Cargill out months before. So I think, she just came off King of the Ring or Queen of the Ring, and Naomi would probably get disqualified in this match, or Bianca Belair comes out and is an assists um,
Naomi
Jade
or yeah,
Cargill.
Jade
Or
Cargill.
I mean, she could turn. Who knows?
Yeah,
Everybody's turning heel, so yeah.
fuck it.
Um,
Let everybody
Fuck it.
turn heel.
There's only gonna be one baby face in the whole company.
Yeah, Cody
Uh,
Rhodes.
Not even it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think this is gonna be a clean win, unless there is an assist from somebody. But I could see Naomi getting disqualified here, uh, possibly using the Money in the Bank briefcase. Um, she's got the Money in the Bank for the females, right?
Naomi?
I believe so. Yeah,
Yes, she does.
yeah. So she might use that as a you know a thing, or she could lose and then later on in the show use her Money in the Bank and cash it in, so that loss doesn't really affect her. You know,
That's very true. Very true.
it's kind of like Brett and Owen. Brett and Owen opened WrestleMania 10, and Brett lost to Owen in the first match, but then he went out and he won the championship later in the night. So nobody gave a shit about him losing that match. So you could do the same thing here with both of these, girls.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I just want to preface before we continue. I don't have that much knowledge with the women's division. So most of these names that I will be naming off, I kind of have no knowledge of them, other than what
All
I've
right.
seen on the past 3 episodes of Raw, Night of Champions, and what was the pay-per-view that was on that when we started the show? I
Oh
forget.
gosh.
Yeah, I forget. But yeah, so Jade Cargill versus Naomi, I don't care either way. I'm still not over on Jade Cargill. She's got the looks. She's got that's about it, in my opinion. But she just needs to have that wrestling skill, I guess.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
But then we also have a women's number one contender battle royal where the winner will earn a women's world title shot at Clash in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think last year was it Clash in Berlin or something. So
Right.
is the pay-per-view just called Clash?
Yeah, the year before it was in Scotland, I believe.
Clash in Scotland. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, Clash in the Castle, and then Clash in Berlin last year, and then Clash in Paris this year. I could see, the two frames of thought here. You could give it to a new up and comer from NXT, somebody who's like, holy shit, or they might go with the Nikki Bella to promote her, since now Liv's out, and she's kind of lost because it was supposed to be her and Liv Morgan in a program together for the championship that Liv had. No, she was a tag champ, right? No, she was the women's. No, she was a tag champ. Sorry,
Liv,
but
yeah,
it
Liv
was
was a tag champ.
her and Liv in a storyline there. So I think this will be a good way to transition Nikki Bella into another storyline by putting her over here. There's no point in bringing her back and giving her all this attention if she's not going to do something big.
That's true.
You can't just bring her in for shits and giggles and put her on once a month.
Look at Goldberg.
So, yeah, but that's Goldberg.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
But I think she could have a good chance of winning this one.
Yeah. Because that's all I know who's going to be in the battle royal. Everybody that I know of right now is having a match at this event, so I could not tell you. Well, other than Asuka. Asuka is not on the card, so she might be.
Well, she's a champ already, right?
Okay,
She's an
never mind.
champ.
Never mind. Completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, no. Becky Lynch is the Intercontinental.
Oh, and she's a women's champ. See, there's so many championships I can't even remember.
But the wait, no, the women's champ is Tiffany Stratton.
She is yeah. But there's two titles, one on SmackDown, one on Raw, right?
I don't know.
Asuka's the SmackDown women's champ.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I just want it to be a good battle royal. This is, that's it. Next up, we got the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship with a fatal four-way. We have Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus two other qualifying teams, one Raw, one NXT. And I think the Raw one is going to be Asuka and
no, it's it's the Kabuki.
Yeah, that's Asuka.
Yeah, it's not Asuka. It's
No, it's Asuka. Asuka was that because that was what happened on Raw last night. She came out and was like, the Kabukis are back.
Kabuki Warriors, yeah.
Yeah, Asuka and the pirate lady.
Yeah, so Kairi Sane.
So yeah, Asuka doesn't have a belt, I don't think.
Yeah, Asuka. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm conflating. I'm confusing
things. It's okay.
So Asuka and Kairi Sane is Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah,
is the other team, and then I don't know who the NXT team is.
Well, it's probably going to be revealed tonight because we're recording this on a Tuesday, but because NXT is on Tuesday, so I would assume it's someone that's already been revealed by the time this comes out, but we just don't know. Who do you think's gonna win this? I don't think anyone from NXT is gonna win it. So,
I was confused with Asuka and Sky, by the way.
oh, that's
Um,
okay.
so I can see a lot of things happening here. If you want to go with continuing the deception between the Judgment Day and Raquel Rodriguez on how they're treating Liv, you keep the belts on them, which I can see happening because I can see Charlotte and Alexa Bliss getting into it a little bit and them starting an angle. I can also see them winning and having them as tag champs, but not being on the same page, kind of thing. But I don't know if you want to take the belts away from the Judgment Day that quick. Uh, I think it furthers the storyline if you have Roxanne Perez keep the belt with Raquel Rodriguez, which I think is a much more important storyline than Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. That doesn't really need any belts. But yeah, they can continue bickering and being a tag team. So I would say I would if I was booking this, I would keep the belts on Raquel and Roxanne.
I would have to agree. Just because I want that Judgment Day dynamic. I want that, back and forth. I want Liv to come back and just I want the drama. I want the drama between Judgment Day and Liv. And I don't think we can get that if we could still get it if somebody else wins. Raquel's obviously going to blame Roxanne Perez for the loss because she's the newbie in Judgment Day, I would assume. And that would be the only thing you would get from them losing. And I feel like there's so much more you can do if they win because
Absolutely.
Because of that's the only thing you can do if they lose is blame Roxanne Perez because she's new and all this stuff or whatever, And I don't think I don't think they're ready to do that yet, especially because they're building Roxanne Perez to grow onto Raquel Rodriguez. That's how I perceive it. But
Yeah, I agree. You keep the belts on the whole faction,
yeah.
and they're just enjoying life. Not in spite of Liv Morgan, but it can be taken that way.
Mm-hmm.
And Raquel starts respecting and appreciating Roxanne a little bit more if they win,
Correct.
and starts to forget about Liv. And you feel that like, oh, okay. And then when Liv comes back, it's kind of like that's scorned lover kind of thing, but best friend kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's that, like you said, a tension there, and that deception from your friend, turning your back on you, and I thought we were a tag team. Well, yeah, but you got hurt, and now I'm hurt. But you guys didn't win the belts together, but we're still the champs. So there's a whole dynamic there, Um, but we'll see what happens. But I think the best move is to keep those belts on them.
Yeah. Agreed. I agree. But yeah, that's how I see that match going. So now moving on, we have the NXT Women's Championship. JC Jane versus Jordynne Grace. You've heard us talk about Jordynne Grace on the show a little briefly in previous episodes. And I feel like we have the same opinion when it comes to her. We want to see more of her. We want to see her get propelled up to being on Raw or SmackDown and being one of those mainstay names. So I feel like she has to win the championship at this point. I feel like that belt is hers, and she'll have a little NXT title run before she's moved up to the big leagues, and that's my take on it. Also, I don't know who JC Jane is.
Oh man, well, yeah, JC Jane was a kind of a surprise winner of the NXT Championship and her victory. But I agree, Jordynne Grace is should
Yeah.
go over here, get the title. She is, phenomenal. She's got a great look. She's great in the mic. because she's just, I think she debuted in the Royal Rumble for WWE last Royal Rumble, and I think that she actually could be the winner of the next Royal Rumble for the women. But yeah, I think a run right here as NXT champion is going to help cement her a little bit more and give her that validation that she deserves, and she's going over, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, and the next one is the Women's Intercontinental Championship triple threat. Becky Lynch, who has the belt, versus Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. I just like to call her Lykyria.
Yeah, I think Becky's going over, or not Becky, Bayley is going over in this one, and is a new champ.
I would like to see
And
this. I would like to see Bayley win. We've talked about it, when we talked about Raw, but when it comes to Lyra Valkyria, it's just there's something missing. There's something missing from her. Whether she needs to turn heel at some point, and maybe that will help propel her with her in-ring skills, mic skills, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, maybe Bayley winning the belt will push Lycuria in that direction. And Becky Lynch, I think we could both agree we're kind of just over her. Not in the good sense, of course. We're just like, do something already. Like your mic skills are not that great. You're not really doing much with anybody at this point. And I don't know, maybe taking the belt off of her would push her in that direction as well, of starting a storyline somewhere else with someone else that can, maybe work well with her. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Bayley going over, Lyra can then maybe challenge Bayley as a heel. Maybe they both jump Bayley after the match, or I don't know. Again, everybody's turning heel, so it's a new thing. But yeah, I
It worked
think you
with
have to
Cena.
have,
Why wouldn't it work with anybody else?
yeah, everybody just telling you.
Everybody has to turn heel. It worked with Cena.
They did it with the NWO. Just let everybody join the group.
Yeah.
But no, it's I don't see any other avenue for Lyra, than being a heel. You know, Becky, they two of them can join if they have Becky and Lyra and JD and Finn. They could have this Irish faction. I can come back and manage them.
There you go.
I can be in charge of creative.
I see. I would totally back that, as long as it's in the contract that Hornswoggle has to come back.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't have an Irish faction without Hornswoggle.
It turns out maybe he's the manager. Yeah, it turns out Hornswoggle's all of their dad. And
yes, that'd be great. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think, oh man, have an Irish faction. You have a Samoan faction. You got the Real Americans. You got everything else. Want to have an Irish faction?
What would you call the Irish faction? So they can
So
So you have to make it a name that WWE is going to take from us and use.
oh, absolutely. Oh, let me tell you. So back in the dying days of UPW, and you met Alcatraz, Brian Fleming,
Yes.
and another guy, Andrew Hellman. You haven't met him, but I when I came back from WWE and we did some shows, I created a faction called the Westies, and it was based off of the Westies Irish Mafia from the west side of New York, and we played up the whole Irish. They had their caps and everything, and we played up the whole Irish gimmick, and that was our group, and we were so over. It was crazy. and I took all the bumps, unnecessary bumps for the guys to take. Getting thrown through cake and everything like that, and celebrating our birthdays and all that, and Irish birthday celebration, and then faces came out and slammed me through a cake, and
That's
uh,
awesome.
just pissed off the promoter because we got cake all over the arena, and
Is there anywhere to find
wasn't
this online or no?
that
Probably
those
not.
weren't recorded. At least that I know of. I don't know. I don't think so. But anyway, that was and this was in a small place that was just not even big capacity crowds, but the Westies is what I would call them, and have them be this ruthless Irish gang of misfits who just are your typical, Irish mafia from, Gangs of New York style kind of thing. Have you ever seen that movie?
Okay.
Um, that kind of era, with the caps and the shillelaghs and everything else. And that's what I would do. That's what I would call them.
The Westies?
The Westies.
The Westies. Okay. See, I don't know. I would just call them the Shamrock Shakers. Fuck it. That would just just the Shamrock Shakers. And then they can have a brand deal with McDonald's.
It sounds like a little kid's soccer team.
Oh, no, that'd be called the Green Dragons.
Yeah.
but yeah.
The Green Dragons. That was it.
Yeah, the Shamrock Shakers. I don't know. The Westies would be a good one though. I think that would be a really good, name. But I also feel like it's too good that they won't use it.
Use everything else what we're talking about.
We didn't come up with the Empire. We didn't come up.
We didn't.
Yeah.
Well, that's just the name. I mean, we come up with the storylines. I mean, that's more important.
Yeah, I guess.
The least they
I
can do
guess
is
so.
put in some kind of effort into their own creative.
Yeah.
Instead of having us do it every week.
I know. Well, they don't have to pay us, so.
We got to change that.
At some point, yeah, we gotta lawyer up and be like, hey, the fuck's going on here? But yeah, I think Bailey's winning that. Anyways,
yeah.
The WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany Stratton, who is holding the Women's Championship at the moment, versus Trish Stratus. I think Tiffany's gonna win. I feel like Trish Stratus, we don't really see her around enough, and I feel like they just put her in because she is a name from an era that a lot of people love, and I feel like they just put her in because of her name, and that was it. So I think Tiffany's gonna win this match.
Yeah, I definitely think Tiffany's going to win, and then I see Naomi coming out and cashing in. And this makes sense in many ways. You just had Jade and Tiffany and Trish in the ring on Raw, and Jade's queen of the ring. She wants a shot at Tiffany at SummerSlam. Well, she just beat Naomi earlier in the night, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And now Naomi cashes in, wins the championship. So now it's going to be Naomi and Jade at SummerSlam. Match number 3. And Naomi's Jade's already beaten her twice now. WrestleMania and now at Evolution, if I'm correct.
I think you're going to be correct.
And then you have the third match at SummerSlam, but now Naomi goes over in the third match. And she's staying as champion. So I think Naomi cashes in on Stratton. You go to SummerSlam, Naomi and Cargill. And there you go.
Yeah, I feel like you got to have that women's Money in the Bank show up at this event, at an all women's event.
Right.
And I feel like you called it on the money. I feel like Naomi's going to come out. And do you think she's going to successfully cash it in?
Yeah. Because I think Stratton, it's going to be a good match, but I think that she's going to leave herself open at the end because she's such a fan of Trish that she kind of turns her back to the entrance, and she's maybe she's already down. I don't know, or maybe she's helping Trish up or something like that, and I don't know. But there's some way where she's got her back turned, and Naomi comes in out of nowhere and smacks her with the briefcase, calls for the ref,
Yeah. Interesting.
and that's how that happens, in my opinion.
We'll have to wait and see for Evolution on Sunday. Yeah. Next up, last match on this card as of right now. That is the Women's World Championship match. Io Sky, who has the belt currently, versus Rhea Ripley.
Io Sky and Rhea. Yeah, and here's another thing. I mean, we could. I see Rhea winning this match. By the way,
you don't think Naomi's going to come out during this match?
And that's what I was going to say. You could have her come out on this match. I mean, it makes more sense with the Cargill storyline on the other side of things. But this could also be a thing here. But you wouldn't want Rhea to win a belt and lose it right away to Naomi. In my opinion, I mean,
why not?
Sure, it sets up a great storyline, but I think with Rhea having gone through what she's gone through, to have her get that belt back is a huge, okay, and now let her roam for a little bit. Maybe you do. Maybe this is where Naomi comes in, and then you have Rhea chasing. I mean, I just for me, just for Rhea to win and lose it right away, or maybe Io Sky wins and Naomi comes in then.
Well, now I'm gonna backpedal a little bit, but thinking about it, you have Saturday night's main event, which is before Evolution, the day before Evolution. You're gonna have Seth Rollins, who has the Money in the Bank, most likely gonna try to cash it in. Probably won't cash it in because they want to sell Money in the Bank's briefcases, but he's coming out during the Goldberg versus Gunther match, where you have Goldberg, who he's a Hall of Famer, right? Yeah, I think he's a Hall of Famer at this point. And then go to Evolution, and you might see the women's Money in the Bank come out during the Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus, which also has a Hall of Famer, right? Isn't Trish a Hall of Famer? Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that'd be pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. If they have Naomi come out during the Tiffany match, but she could come out during the Io Sky match. So, or Io, whatever.
Io, EIEIO.
Yeah.
And on the farm they had.
Just gonna call her Oscar.
There you go. But no, I think either way, she cashes in on one of them, and to me, it makes more sense with the Jade Cargill because they have that dynamic, they have that history that's still going on because she just attacked Jade backstage with the briefcase on Monday.
But how would her? Oh, so you would say when she gets the belt, Jade would go after her?
Well, Jade has the SummerSlam match against whoever the champion is because she won Queen of the Ring.
That's right.
So,
but who would the match be up against? Like, what title would be on the line?
Well, the title that Stratton has.
Okay, so the women's championship. Okay, not the world, the world championship, the WWE one. Okay, gotcha. Okay,
yeah, I know it's ridiculous. They have WWE Women's World Champion. I mean, they
and then an Intercontinental Championship, and then
United States Champ. Yeah. And secondary belts, I don't care about so much. I mean, as far I like the Intercontinental Championship has so much history for me. U.S. title too, but one world champion, there can't be an undisputed and a world champion and a women's champion and a WWE. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
Who's not disputing this? If I'm the WWE
No,
champion, I'm disputing
it's
that he's.
undisputed.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's disputing it.
But I don't. Yeah. I, I, for me, it makes more sense for her to get involved, for Naomi to come down and cash in on the Cargill match.
I agree.
I think you let Rhea win and
Or
go
cash in on
on.
the Stratton match.
Sorry, yeah, not the Cargill match. Sorry, the Stratton Trish Stratus match, and then have Rhea win her match.
Or maybe Naomi waits to cash it in during SummerSlam. That's another thing too.
Absolutely could. Absolutely could.
But yeah. But yeah, those are
But
those.
like you said, at all women's pay per view, it makes more sense. Do it there.
Exactly, 100%.
Make some noise. Make it go. Holy shit.
100%. But yeah, those are our predictions for the next events that are coming up this weekend. Again, Saturday night's main event and Evolution coming out the weekend, the opening weekend of the long-awaited movie Superman, which we are both excited about. And because we're so excited about it, we want to do an episode based on probably the best Superman movie to ever be filmed, released, whatever, and that is Superman Returns, starring Kevin Spacey.
The fuck?
And Brandon Ruth. I think that's his name. But no, we're not talking about that movie. We're not going to be talking about that movie. We're going to be talking about Superman 2. And I'm trying to get access to the Donner cut. I don't know if I will by the time we do the episode, but I'm going to try to get access to it. If I don't, we will talk about the differences between the Donner cut and the regular one, because I'm sure you're going to watch the Donner cut.
I'll watch both. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I could watch it all day long. So great. Such a great movie. Such a great story.
Yeah, and so yeah, just another thing to look forward to. You're going to get 2 episodes this week. So yeah, enjoy it. That's all I have to say about predictions, what's coming up.
And then we got to do a recap of the actual new Superman movie.
Yes,
I mean,
that'll be next week. I don't know when.
The world premiere, as of this taping, the world premiere was last night, and not one negative that I've seen anywhere.
Okay.
One negative comment about anything in this movie.
Okay.
High praise from everybody and everything.
I've heard mixed things from one outlet, but I take it with a grain of salt.
Who?
Forgot his name. His name's
tell him to
go. His name's Jeremy something. Jeremy something. He's a famous YouTube reviewer, but
last name is that's weird.
And I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be more along the lines of if you like James Gunn's style, and I for one do. So I think I'm gonna enjoy the movie. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, go watch our Superman episode that we're gonna do on Superman 2, starring Christopher Reeve, and yeah, it should be out maybe when this episode comes out. If it's not, wait a couple days, it'll be out. But anyways, that's all I have to say. Do you have anything else you want to add? Anything you want to?
Oh man, it's gonna be a good week. Friday, Superman, and Saturday night's main event. Sunday, Evolution.
Yeah, I mean, you might see 2 episodes next week as well.
Right.
But yeah, so no promises, just execution. That's all we got.
Excellent.
Yeah, and yeah. Well, this has been the Doyledin podcast. Have a good day. Have a good night. Whatever your time zone may be, don't forget to stay Doyledin, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.